just drove that boat out of nothing. I just nothing. Literally nothing. My dad, you know, he's as tough as they come. God, you know, I can only wish I could be as half as tough as he is. I consider myself a success.
Phil looked up to Grant and wanted to be the best also.
You gotta have the want to begin with. I always had the want since I was a little kid to drive boats. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that the guy upstairs makes 3 times as much money and is warm.
Phil's break came when Grant took time off to recuperate from the Rogue Wave accident.
On my 21st birthday, they handed me the keys to a boat, and that was the start of my career on a boat.
It was just that's probably a good choice. He's going to be green as green, but, you know, don't make up for that with effort.
The crew was ready to walk, because man, here comes this kid, you know. I made some pretty bonehead mistakes, but, you know, you learn from it. Kind of scary. You're used to having somebody on the boat and you can ask what's going on. And all of a sudden, that person's gone, and you're making the decisions.
But from the start, Phil was skilled at making the tough decisions, especially where to set his crab pots.
He seemed to have a knack to know where crab were. He was just a very smart fisherman.
He was driven from the beginning. Once he decided he was going to be a fisherman, it was like, all right, I can do this job. I proved I can work on deck. I proved I can drive a boat. I proved I can beat the fleet. That was Phil.
I think that he was probably as good a fisherman as anybody in the Bering Sea. He was a much better fisherman than I am.
Aww.
Firmly established as a Bering Sea crab captain, Phil decided it was time to move forward on the home front. In 1982, after a 4-year courtship, Phil and Mary became husband and wife.
Why would it take a 4-year courtship?
The year that we got married, Joshua came along 11 months later. 2.5 years after that, then Jake was born.
But I can't tell you how much he loved those boys and how proud he was when Joshua was born, how proud he was when Jacob was born. I think he was giving cigars away at the elementary school.
I was the disciplinarian. He was the guy that gets to come home and shower everybody with gifts, and we get to do all this fun stuff because he wasn't in very much. He was gone probably 9 months out of the year, but when he come back in town, it was just all fun and games and spending a lot of money and spending a lot of time together.
He could, work 48, 72 hours straight, but he could also party 48, 72 hours straight. We were like rock stars back in the 70s and stuff. We used to make some good money. That guy killed some crab. He made some money. He spent that money. He did whatever he wanted,
You'd make some fast money, big money, and then you'd probably buy yourself a Corvette or a fancy car. And then, of course, you played around with a lot of other stuff at the time, and so the money went pretty quick. And I got to tell you, it was a blast.
Phil did use some of his cash to buy an ownership stake in a big, fast machine that would actually make him money for Cornelia Marie. But as a boat owner, Phil spent even more time at sea. His sons were growing up without him, and his marriage suffered.
I really didn't want him to fish. I wanted him to do something different because it was so hard on his body and hard on our relationship, and he was away from the kids and stuff. Him being gone so long, I guess I was better suited for it than he was.
In 1991, Phil and Mary divorced.
Even though they were divorced, he kept in touch with her, and he confided in me about her. He loved her till the day that he died.
Though his family had fallen apart, Phil would find a way to rebuild it aboard the Cornelia Marie.
Mommy. Good. Mommy.
You're me. Oh, I'm shaking in my boots. Really, I love both those boys dearly. They don't have to be fishermen. I'm glad they're here.
They didn't tell his boys straight out, you're gonna fish. But deep down, you know that he still wants the boys on the boat.
After 15 years as part owner and skipper of the Cornelia Marie, Phil seized the chance to spend more time with his son.
I was looking at Jake today, and it kind of reminded me of when I took off my first time.
In 2005, Jake joined his father aboard the Cornelia Marie.
When I first got on the boat, all the guys were kind of looking at me like I was captain's son, you know, that I kind of, you know, used my influence to get on a boat. And so my dad called me up in the wheelhouse. He's like, you know what, I am your father, but when we're on this boat and we're working, he's like, I'm the captain, and you listen to what the I'm going to say. It's like, there is no favoritism here, you know?
You tell me you could do the job. Yeah, you can. You could probably be an astronaut if you want to. You got the brains for it, but you ain't done it. You don't know what you're doing down there. 0.75% you do, but there's still things to learn. And you want to be top share. You want to be top dog. You earn it. Earn it.
I'm hella glad that he did it in the way that he did, you know, because I'd hate to just be on the boat looking like I was just the captain's son.
My dad's like, I love you, kid, but, you know, this is hard work. You know, this is real fishing. And
This is man to man.
yeah, that's right. And one thing leads to another. I end up going up north to prove him wrong.
1 year after his brother Jake, Josh joined the family business.
Something about coming up here and risking your life. Sounds weird, but makes you feel alive.
To see them follow into his footsteps and to see them have the desire to become the kind of person and the man that he was as a father and a skipper was really, really important to him.
With the Harris plan united,
What kind of beer are we getting?
Phil finally got the chance to make up for lost time.
Nice, son. Sweet dreams.
Boy, did you... On the drop, not a bit through. You missed. You take it like a man.
Josh has always been the older, stronger one, and Jake's been the one that feels no pain.
When we get off, you would test Jake all the time when it came to pain. And he would like the cigarette thing. Tell him the cigarette story.
I had a big mouth for my little body, and he said back in the day, guys would buy drinks, they'd drop a cigarette between their arms, and whoever pulled away fastest, you know.
The first one to flinch, you know, was no good. So he was telling me how tough he was one time when he was a little kid, and so I put his arm up, and he put his arm up,
and so I wasn't going to let that win, you know.
I dropped the cigarette in there, and
once you start smelling burnt flesh and pulled away, you know, so
I knew right then and there that he was tough.
There was never a dull moment when his family was around.
Howdy, fellas.
It was just fun. You couldn't start a season without this awesome little gel thing of sparkling mullet rub. Dysfunctional.
You ain't a man until you pull a tooth out with a pair of pliers. Oh, the son of a...
But not too, just right on the edge.
Crab farts, that's just Phil being Phil. Crab have no air bladders. They have no air inside of them, of any kind, especially not flatulence.
These crabs have gas, so you look out, like, you know, when it's flatter out, and you look for little air bubbles. But you look for air bubbles, and then it starts smelling like, and you know you got on a herd. They're just farting little machines.
With the crab fart thing, that was just for the benefit of his kids.
700.
He actually got on some pretty hot fishing, and afterwards the kids were out on deck saying, you know what, do you think he's actually smelling crab farts?
I'm starting to smell like 700. Starting to see those bubbles in the water.
Yeah, he's pumping his kids. He's having a good time. I think they believed it, too.
You know, when they were little, I